Good morning. George Orwell wrote a book before called Animal Farm. Same author wrote a book, 1984. That's about a dystopian society. That'd be China at the moment, or maybe even China a few years ago. And then Aldous Huxley wrote an opposing novel, like if we have an interpretation of opposites. Aldous Huxley then wrote a book called A Brave New World, and that would be America. But a binary opposite, if we have an interpretation of opposites. But today I'll talk about Animal Farm. Animal Farm was about an allegorical novel about the Bolshevik Revolution, 1917, which resulted in the USSR, Russia. But it was about a farm in which all the animals decided. It was run by a lad called Mr. Jones, who was a drunk. And the animals decided to have secret meetings. It was held by an old pig called Old Major, because they were the most intelligent animals, and that would have been, I presume that would be Lenin. But they had secret meetings in which they decided that all animals were equal, and they could see no reason why they shouldn't run the farm themselves, overthrow the humans and run the farm themselves. So that's what happened anyway. When Jones was down the pub drinking one time, the animals had a revolt and took over the farm. And then they decided that the pigs were the most intelligent animals, so they decided they should run the farm, and they made these rules, 7 commandments, because animals need commandments, because they don't think for themselves, so they need rules. This is why I say no rules, no rules, no rules. You have to think for yourself. But they had these 7 commandments, and one of them was, for example, like no animal should sleep in a bed, and no animal should wear clothes. No animal wears clothes. This was 2 of the rules. I can't remember the rest of them. But basically, anyway, they had rules for these animals, and they decided that basically the moral of the story is all animals are equal. And no animal should kill. Yes, no animal should kill another animal either. That was another of the commandments. No animal should kill another animal. That was another of the commandments. But then the pigs anyway took over and they started to run the farm. But everybody worked really hard. Under the understanding that everybody was equal and everybody was working in the interest of everybody else. But basically, like, that was all grand in the start. But the pigs then started to more or less take a position of authority in which they exploited the other animals' labour. They had them work all the time. For example, Sunday was to be a rest day, but they had them work every Sunday. Sunday was to be a rest day, but they said working Sunday is a choice, but we cut your rations, we cut your food in half if you don't work Sunday. So working Sunday is a choice, but if you don't work on a Sunday, we cut your rations in half. In other words, they worked the shit out of them, and then they started to sleep in the beds, and they started to live a superior lifestyle to the lower animals. They started to live like humans. So things were where initially things were better, then after a while things were worse than when they were being managed by the humans. But then anyway, there was one old horse. There was one horse, I forget his name. Old Major, I think, that was the pig's. Old Major was the pig's name. I forget the horse's name. Maybe, Old Major was the pig's name. But I forget the horse's name, but the horse's motto was, I must work harder. These are the horses, and he did most of the work around the farm. He did all the tilling, all the harvesting, everything. But all the animals tied in. But basically, anyway, to make a long story short, the pigs became... well, they did what pigs do. The pigs became worse than the humans ever were. They ran the whole thing and exploited the other animals' labour. And then Jones made an attempt to get the farm back at one stage, but he couldn't. He failed in his revolt. And one of the pigs. Yeah, they ended up. The pigs did kill the other animals in the end. But anyway, that's the story of Animal Farm. You get the idea. I'm sure you get the idea about the pigs being the most intelligent animal and taking over and more or less exploiting the other animals' labour, even though it was supposed to be under the guise that all animals were equal. But basically, that turns out to be complete bollocks. All animals are not equal. And I know, like, well, you can tie it into, you know, like, well, there's certain hierarchical structures that work under the guise of all animals being equal, but that's not true. And I always maintain that that's not true. Nature's comprised of hierarchical systems. And the fact that all animals are equal is the greatest noble lie. And all it is a guise to exploit the labour of other animals. But it's the greatest noble lie, is to make everybody think, like Stalin did this, empower the proletariat without merit. But basically it was to serve, in the end, it was to serve their own selfish interests. Like, it was to serve their own selfish interests. Like in a communist regime, how do you have oligarchs and how do you have millionaires, for example, like there is in China? It's from the exploitation of the lower animals' labour. So basically, like, if we do away with this, with this noble lie and this illusion, and see things as they are, really, real socialism is a meritocracy. It's a meritocracy. It's based on merit, like, and that's how it should be. Again, I'll have to agree with Peterson: a competence hierarchy, and a transcendence hierarchy, and then a meritocracy. But that's as is, a meritocracy. Basically, like, everything, you're valued according to your merit. Basically, what value are you to the society? What value are you to the society? What value are you to the place? But if you're under some illusion, the worst thing you could have is an illusion that you're of a higher value than you are, because that would be a mistake. Now, yeah, a friend of mine one time used to tell me a story. We spent about 2 days talking about the same story. He used to have a pet pig, and he used to go out every day. Same chap was a millionaire, but he used to go every day, feed the pig, scratch the pig. And as far as the pig was concerned, they were the best of friends. They loved, the pig loved them. The pig loved them. The pig thought they were best friends, comfortable in his skin. This is a great life. This is a great life. I get fed every day. I get scratched. I'm loved here. And he went out one day and slit the pig's throat. And the pig ended up on the table being ate for dinner. This is nature. This is life. The whole thing, the purpose of these videos is I'm trying to teach you that focus on what is within your control, but everything must be subject to reason. Everything's subject to reason. It doesn't matter what you feel. Keep your eye on the goal. If you have a goal, once you set the goal and you cling to the goal, everything depends on two things: your work ethic, your moral choices, and your like, life is a game. It's like the Witcher game. You know The Witcher? You ever play The Witcher? I don't play games, but I'm familiar with the game The Witcher. And the outcome depends on your moral choices. Everything depends on your moral choices, your work ethic, and your focus. And everything must be focused. Everything must be subject to reason. Is it conducive to the goal? It doesn't matter what anybody else's agenda is. The thing is, are they conducive to the goal? As Cicero said, place your friends in order of your use for them. Everything must be, what is my use for you? Now, this is completely opposite to Kant, but you know by this stage, like, I'm not a big fan of Kant's moral philosophy. I say everybody must define their own morals. Everybody must define their own morality. Everybody must establish their own values. But I'm not a fan of this universal morality, because I think this is bullshit, because we all have individual natures. And if you want to live according to your own nature, you must establish your own values and define your own morality. But Kant is more or less like, a universal morality, basically, the categorical imperative. But you know how I feel about the categorical imperative at this stage. Basically, anyway, there are no universals, because we as I say, this is like expecting a honey badger to conform as a koala bear, so you don't traumatize the koala bear. But fuck the koala bear. I say fuck the koala bear. It's up to the koala bear to look after himself, to adapt himself, or else Well, he doesn't get to stick around, but you have to evolve. This is the evolutionary process. How well you can adapt, how well you can adapt. You know, in an ever-changing society, change is the only constant, and the only question is how well you can adapt. No matter what your circumstances. But everything must be subject to reason and what is conducive to the goal, and basically what is my use for you, what is my use for you. You know what I mean? Why are you here? What is my use for you? And it doesn't really matter. Everybody has their own agenda. Everybody has their own agenda. This is the Hunger Games. But you must not lose sight of your agenda, or end up, this is what happens to people, they end up being chasing the illusion of success, the illusion of success, the illusion of success. But the illusion of success is not your fucking goal. This is exactly what that is, the illusion of success. This is Sirens of Odessa, the Sirens of Odessa, and the thing is to put wax in your ears and stay sailing. Stay sailing. Sail by the Sirens of Odessa. Stay sailing by the Sirens of Odessa. Put the wax in your ears and don't mind their fucking songs, their illusion of success. Stay aiming towards your own destination, your own goal. And Kant's moral philosophy says then, don't use people as a means to an end, but as an end in themselves. We are by natural order already a means to an end. We're already a means to an end. But if you use your faculty of reason, you get to determine that end. You don't become somebody else's end, but this is up to you. It's up to everybody to focus on their own shit. And they're already means to an end. It might as well be your end. It might as well be your end. And this is how you determine the nature of change. Are they conducive to your goal? Are they conducive to your goal? And if they're not, fuck them off. Fuck them off. It's that fucking simple. And this is what you do. Everything must be subject to reason. It doesn't matter what your feelings are. It doesn't matter what your thoughts are. Everything must be what's conducive to the goal. What's conducive to the goal. This is how you reach your full potential. What is conducive to the fucking goal. No distractions, no fuck all. Just what is conducive to the goal. And if somebody else is not rowing in your boat, then throw them overboard. You must cut the ballast. If the balloon is going to rise, cut the ballast. No hangers on, no fucking dead weight, no fucking ostracize the lazy bees. That's how a beehive works. Ostracize the lazy bees. They're no use to you. Ostracize the lazy bees. Do you get the message? Good morning.